Ronda Rousey. Ronda was 12-0 and the most dominant force women ever seen. Her last 3 title defenses lasted a combined 64 seconds. The betting markets had her as a minus 1250 favorite against Holly Holm. Nobody gave Holly a chance. Rousey refused to touch gloves at the weigh-ins, telling Holly, "You're getting your ass kicked tomorrow." November 14th, 2015, UFC 193 in Melbourne, Australia. Despite facing an 18-time boxing world champion, Rousey tried to box with her. Round 1 was a disaster. Rousey chased Holly in straight lines, eating hooks and missing wildly. Between rounds, her coach told her, "Beautiful work, champ." Despite Rousey being battered. Round 2, 59 seconds in, Rousey lunged forward with a sloppy hook. Holly ducked under it and launched a left high kick. The shin connected flush with Rousey's neck. She was unconscious before hitting the canvas in front of 56,000 fans. The aftermath was brutal. Rousey walked through LAX, hiding behind a purple pillow, and vanished for over a year. The aura of invincibility was shattered permanently. Ben Askren. Ben was 19-0 and hadn't lost in a decade. He held belts in Bellator and won championship and used trash talk to infuriate opponents, constantly mocking Jorge Masvidal. Askren was a minus 230 favorite. Everyone expected 15 minutes of boring wrestling, but Masvidal had practiced one specific move for days. July 6th, 2019, UFC 239 in Las Vegas. As the referee started the fight, Masvidal sprinted across the octagon. Askren changed levels to shoot for a takedown. Masvidal's knee connected flush with Askren's head at 5 seconds. Askren was out cold, arms stiff in a fencing response. Masvidal landed 2 hammer fists before the refs stopped it. Askren later revealed he has zero memory of the fight. His first memory was waking up in the hospital. Hours later he tweeted, "Well, that sucked." The knockout remains the most replayed clip in UFC history. The myth evaporated in 5 seconds. Barau. Barau was 32-1 and had gone unbeaten for 33 fights over 9 years. Dana White called him the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, above John Jones and Jose Aldo. Barau was a minus 700 to minus 1,000 favorite against TJ Dillashaw, a late replacement sitting at plus 900. May 24th, 2014, UFC 173 in Las Vegas. Dillashaw's coach implemented a game plan based on constant stance switching. At 4 minutes into round 1, Dillashaw dropped Barau with an overhand right. The aura broke. Barau spent the next 20 minutes in a zombie state. Round 5, Dillashaw landed a head kick and flurry. Herb Dean stopped it at 2 minutes and 26 seconds. It was a 22-minute deconstruction of the pound-for-pound king by a massive underdog. The fall was catastrophic. Barau fainted in a bathtub while cutting weight for the rematch, forcing its cancellation. The man who won 33 straight went 2-8 in his next 10 fights and was released by the UFC. Joanna was 14-0 with 5 title defenses and known for psychological warfare. She called Rose Namajunas mentally unstable, and at the weigh-in pressed her fist against Rose's face, screaming, "The boogie woman is coming for you." Rose stood silently reciting the Lord's Prayer. Joanna was a minus 450 to minus 700 favorite. November 4th, 2017, UFC 217 at Madison Square Garden. Rose used a leaping lead hook that neutralized Joanna's reach. In round 1, Rose dropped Joanna twice. As Rose swarmed with punches, Joanna tapped her hand on the canvas. She tapped to strikes, incredibly rare in championship fights. The bully was beaten at her own game. Joanna blamed a botched weight cut, but lost the rematch months later. Rose's tearful post-fight interview became one of MMA's most iconic feel-good moments. Chris Weidman. Chris was 13-0 and the man who ended Anderson Silva's reign twice. He was defending his middleweight title against Luke Rockhold at UFC 194 on December 12th, 2015. Weidman was the favorite. The fight was competitive into round 3. Then Weidman attempted a spinning wheel kick. It was lazy, telegraphed, and failed. Rockhold grabbed his exposed back, dragged him down, and mounted him. He rained elbows and punches for an agonizing minute. The fight was stopped in round 4. Weidman lost his belt because he tried a flashy move he wasn't good at. The beating seemed to permanently crack his chin. He went 2-6 in his next 8 fights, suffering brutal knockouts. The wheel kick is the exact moment his career collapsed. Lyoto Machida was 16-0 and the UFC light heavyweight champion. His Shotokan karate style made him untouchable. After knocking out Rashad Evans, Joe Rogan declared, "Welcome to the Machida era." But in his first defense, he won a controversial decision against Shogun Rua that most fans scored for Shogun. May 8th, 2010, UFC 113 in Montreal, the rematch. Shogun pressured Machida relentlessly. At 3 minutes and 35 seconds of round 1, Shogun landed a looping right hook to Machida's temple. Machida collapsed instantly. The Machida era lasted exactly 1 title defense. Israel Adesanya. Izzy was 20-0 and the middleweight champion. He was moving up to light heavyweight to become a champ. Despite the weight jump, Adesanya was the favorite at minus 230 against champion Jan Blachowicz. March 6th, 2021, UFC 259. The weight disparity was massive. Jan likely walked into the cage at 220 plus pounds. For 3 rounds, it was technical kickboxing. Then in rounds 4 and 5, Jan used his size. He timed takedowns and pinned Adesanya to the mat with heavy top pressure. Adesanya couldn't move the bigger man. Jan won by unanimous decision. Unlike others, Adesanya accepted the loss with grace, telling fans, "If you want to hop off the hype train, get the fuck off. We're just stopping for gas." He returned to middleweight and continued defending his belt. He learned weight classes exist for a reason. Jon Jones. Jon Jones is considered the greatest of all time, but his record shows 1 loss from a technicality so absurd, most fans refused to acknowledge it. December 5th, 2009, The Ultimate Fighter 10 finale. Jones was 9-0 and dominating Matt Hamill, who is legally deaf. Jones mounted him and threw 12 to 6 elbows, straight down strikes. Referee Steve Mazzagatti stopped the fight for the illegal strikes. He asked Hamill, who is deaf and had blood in his eyes, "Are you done?" Hamill didn't respond. Mazzagatti disqualified Jones. The 12 to 6 elbow ban came from commissioners watching martial artists break ice blocks. Dana White has tried to overturn the loss, but failed. Most fans call Jones undefeated, and Matt Hamill is jokingly the only man to beat him, despite being destroyed. And that's how every major undefeated streak in UFC history ended. Some bounced back, some never recovered, but all learned the same lesson. Nobody stays perfect forever.